You will see all the imagery in the yogic culture, flower, flower, small flower, small flower, small flower, big flower. It opened up. This life will not function with the effervescence and exuberance and exploration that life is. All the intelligence that is needed to create this body, to create this life is intrinsic to us. It is not something that happens from outside. It is intrinsic to us. It is just a question of access. You didn't drop from heaven, as some people believe. You evolved the qualities of an amoeba, an earthworm, a grasshopper, a buffalo, every kind of beast that evolution went through. Elements of those qualities are still with you. So, these are all compulsive tendencies. The evolutionary process, the modern neurology recognizes that there is a part of your brain which is reptilian, which is approximately the size of your fist. That means it's at that stage of development, which is instinctive and does things in a certain way. But over that, a flower of cerebral cortex evolved. The happening which happened after human spine became erect, which is what makes you human, which is what gives you thoughts about universality of the existence, which is what gives you an idea that everything is one, which is what allows you to be a scientist, this is what allows you to be a spiritual seeker. But if you go back to this, all you have is instincts of survival. If you look at the evolutionary dimension of life upon this planet, why a human being is dominating this world, though physically we are weaker than many other creatures on the planet, is simply because in some way we have become more competent than others. So the competence of being human is greatly reduced when there is no clear distinction between what is memory, what is imagination, what is sleep, what is wakefulness. There are 5 major points of receptivity in one's mind. These are centers of memory, centers of imagination, centers of right perception, centers of perversion, and centers of sleep. If you practice classical yoga, these 5 dimensions will be distinctly separate in your experience. If it is not separate, what happens to you is, when you want to remember something, your imagination plays havoc with your memory. When you want to imagine something, your memory will constrain you from really proper dimension of imagination. When you want to sleep, you will have dreams. When you want to be awake, you will fall asleep. This causes a whole lot of confusion and inefficiency of life. I'm not talking about you being efficient in your profession or in your office or wherever else. That also, yes, in that way also it manifests, but more than that, inefficiency of life. When I say inefficiency of life, this life will not function with the effervescence and exuberance and exploration that life is, that it can explore many dimensions within itself. This possibility is greatly reduced simply because this mix-up has happened in people's experience of life. You are not sitting here and conducting your renal functions or your liver functions or your spleen working or not, you're not doing this. Aren't all these many things happening at the same time? Isn't there an intelligence within us which is capable of doing all these things? It is just that most human beings are understanding human intelligence as just as intellect. Intellect is only the surface aspect, it is a veneer in the huge volume of intelligence that makes us who we are, because we are made from within. All the intelligence that is needed to create this body, to create this life is intrinsic to us. It is not something that happens from outside. It is intrinsic to us. It is just a question of access. So the entire process, the human effort through education, through spiritual process, through meditation, everything is to move away from this and function from the outer dimension, which is a more recent happening, but this gives you a sense of seamless way of approaching life. If you go to the reptilian brain of who you are, fixing boundaries is all that you know. There are experiments, there are studies which show that with certain practices of meditativeness, reptilian brain, which is always about fixing boundaries, will begin to communicate with the outer part of the cerebral cortex and it function as one brain. And that is why you will see all the imagery in the yogic culture, flower, flower, small flower, small flower, small flower, big flower. It opened up. If it opens up, now human intelligence is functioning in a very unifying way, not in a divisive way, not in a way that you will become exclusive, you will become inclusive. Shambhavi Mahamudra, just a simple practice for 21 minutes increases brain function and neuronal regeneration. This means as you grow old, you will become more intelligent. Now there is scientific evidence. The meters are saying your brain is actually growing by doing a simple 21-minute practice. And you don't believe the meter, you just do the practice for 3 months and see, you will see how clear and how smart your mind is suddenly.
Meditation is a powerful tool for spiritual growth and is essentially a process to take one beyond the limitations of mind and body. Teachers and practitioners of these inner technologies have also experienced the many physical and mental benefits of meditation and yoga. Now, while I was making a script for this video, I came across one thing that was literally awakening for me, and of course, I was very much joyful after knowing it, and that was that do you know that Shambhavi Mahamudra is actually not an initiation but a consecration? Yes, up till now, even I was thinking that Shambhavi is an initiation. But while making this video, I came to know that actually it is not an initiation, rather it is a consecration. Now you might be thinking that what's a great deal if it is a consecration instead of initiation? What is so much to get happy or shocked about it? Well, if you don't know, then let me say you that consecration is a life process. You might have witnessed Sadhguru saying in many of his videos that if you transform mud into food, we call this agriculture. And if you make food into flesh and bone, we call this digestion. If you make flesh into mud, we call this cremation. But if you make this flesh or even a stone or an empty space into a divine possibility, then that is known as consecration. This means whether you are aware or not, Shambhavi is always working. It will not go anywhere, means it will always stay. Now let's understand that what does this mean and how and why about it. Now do you know that the fundamental building block in the system can be changed very rapidly if one lives in a consecrated space? Now I know you people are confused, so let's go a little more deeper. The reason why most people are unhappy or unhealthy is that the physical, mental and pranic body are not in alignment. Now why am I saying this is because there is a certain way to engineer our system, to make this body, to make this mind, the very chemistry within us the way we want it. Now, we know that in yoga we have 5 layers of body, that is physical body, mental body, pranic energy body, and the etheric body, and the bliss body. Now, when the first 3 bodies are not aligned, people experience unhappiness and lack of depth. While on the other hand, if they are properly aligned, a natural expression, an overwhelming expression of joyfulness will naturally happen within a human being. Now, Shambhavi is a way of consecration that will keep all these 3 bodies constantly aligned so that joyfulness is not an accidental happening. This means that Shambhavi, which is an ancient Kriya that has millions of dedicated practitioners who experience greater emotional balance, concentration, focus, stability, and better health with regular practice of this meditation. In fact, there have been several scientific studies that make the various benefits of practicing the Kriya regularly, both with regard to brain activity during the Kriya as well as statistical research of how it affects people's health and well-being. Now, moving forward, we have seen that studies on Shambhavi Mahamudra have been varied always and every time. They are finding something new. Some have looked specifically at menstrual disorders, while others have studied the benefits of this meditation on sleep, heart rate variability, brain activity, etc. Other studies have researched general well-being and improved attention spans among regular meditators. Now, among all the benefits that Shambhavi provides, one most important benefit that it provides is that greater coherence within the brain. Now, yes, I know that you will say that I am going to speak for focus, mental balance, etc. etc. But today I am not. I was literally astonished when I came to know that how Shambhavi impacts the brain in great depth. So just hang on and let's have a look. A study from the Center for Biomedical Engineering, IIT Delhi, looked at EEG, that is electroencephalography data, from practitioners' brain before, during, and after practicing the Kriya. The results showed that practitioners experience a greater level of coherence between the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Now, EEG coherence is known as the measure of how well connected various regions of the brain are. Higher coherence indicates greater exchange of information between various regions as well as improved functional coupling and coordination. Now, the researchers also measured signals at various prominent EEG spectral bands known as alpha, beta, delta, and theta. Now, Shambhavi practitioners were seen to have higher alpha band power in general, indicating that they experience lower stress levels. There was a high increase in delta band power and theta band, and a notable decrease in beta band power. Now, let's understand that what these alpha, beta, gamma, theta brainwaves are actually about and what do they do. Now, there are many reasons to meditate, and among them, one of them is to focus on how to get beyond the analytical thinking mind. The analytical mind is what separates the conscious from the subconscious. The way we get beyond the analytical mind is by slowing down our brainwave from beta to alpha states. While there are varying levels of brain waves, the first one we will discuss is beta brain waves, which has 3 levels, that is low beta level, where we are aware of the environment, and in turn our brain is integrating high levels of sensory information from the outer world to our brain and body. That means it's creating coherence and meaning between our inner and outer worlds. On the other hand, there are high beta brain waves where we are living in stress and survival. High beta is very aroused state, usually associated with emotions such as anger, aggression, fear, anxiety, or pain and suffering, in which usually we need something outside to change our inner emotional states, such as drugs, alcohol, television, video games, etc. Therefore, we could say that we are looking to change the inner environment through something in the outer environment. Now, the neocortex, that is the analytical brain, is always very busy trying to analyze and make sense of the outer world. But if we close our eyes and tune out the incoming sensory information, our brain waves begin moving from beta to alpha. Alpha brain waves are essentially a resting state of the body, which allows us to dream or imagine more creatively in picture and images. In a very real way, the voice in our head that is always talking to us quiet down, and as a result, we become less analytical. This is how we move beyond the thinking mind. Now, when Shambhavi is done successfully, energy begins to move into the limbic or the midbrain, which is the seat of autonomic nervous system, also known as the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the operating system of the body. It controls heart rate, digestion, blood sugar levels, body temperature, hormonal secretions, temperature regulation, and more. Thus, if we can consciously tap into the autonomic nervous system, we can begin to influence the way our body functions physiologically. Now, when we enter the theta state, we forget about our personality or our identity, which has been identifying with all of the people and objects in our external environment at certain places and times. This is the identity that has developed over a lifetime through the prism of our history, education, family, culture, etc. Now we have descended our consciousness into a deeper state of brainwaves called theta brainwaves. Now, when all that falls away, that's the moment where we become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and in no time. That means we unlock the door of the quantum world. Higher theta and delta activity have been noted in previous research as indicative of conscious access to deeper states of meditation. Delta rhythms combined with alpha are known to reflect an inner intuitive, empathetic radar, a kind of sixth sense in the researchers know. Now coming back to Shambhavi in a questionnaire asking about improvements in life experienced from practicing the Shambhavi Mahamudra, 536 respondents indicated that how the Kriya had helped reduce medication and eliminate problems such as depression, allergies, asthma, and other ailments. 91% reported greater inner peace, 87% reported improved emotional balance, 24% reported self-confidence, and 79% experienced increased heightened energy level states, and 70% reported better concentration and higher productivity. Among meditators who had been suffering depression, 87% reported improvement, 25% reduced their medication, and 50% were able to stop their medication. Can you see such a miracle? Similarly, for all those suffering anxiety, 86% reported improvement, 28% reduced the medication, and 50% were able to stop their medication. In brief, taken together, all these results support an increase in self-awareness due to practicing of Shambhavi Mahamudra. It is also clear that regular practice benefits cardiac health and either leads to a stop in the use of medication or at least reduces it considerably for a range of ailments. So just try it out once for 21 minutes for 6 months. Believe me, you will never leave this again, and the results that it will offer you, you even can't believe it, or even you have never thought of it. The beauty of Shambhavi is that it takes a mere 21 minutes of your day. The Kriya is a part of the inner engineering program, so if you haven't been initiated into Shambhavi, don't miss this opportunity. Link of which I have given in the description. Now hope you loved the video and found it meaningful, and if yes, do not forget to share this with your friends and family, and also do not forget to like and subscribe. Up to next, stay safe, healthy, happy, and namaskaram.